So yeah, now it seems to be working. I will do another test here. So cheers. So I wonder if this has to do with my lavalier mic, my IK multimedia mic, if something is wrong with them. Now I'm testing the one that I got from Karin Hög in Copenhagen, Denmark, when I visited her there and her nice studio. So thanks for that again, Karin. And now I would say that from the get-go here, now it's this third take. And I will try to do this short and sweet. Same thing now, it's the horizontal thing, so I see what I should, Haps is giving me advice what I should say. And then I have all kind of ideas in my head here, and I'm watching the Facebook streaming at the same time. So that's interesting. So what's going on? I could say that this is more like the old day when I started blogging in 2002. When you ventilated, you checked news, you wrote blog posts, you connected with the fellow bloggers out there. You did wrap-ups, different lists, guest blogging, all kind of good stuff. And I will still continue to blog. As I said, that's the BNP, Play with Words gross domestic product in Sweden. Blogging, newsletter, podcasting. And also that I like in podcasting, it's also this so-called community in a positive way. We are individuals, we are indie podcasters, but we trade and we exchange ideas, tips and tricks and other things like that. And also it's a big place out there. So it's a big market, and you could have space for many ones. It's 1 million podcasts out there, and starting new podcasts almost every day, I think. And as I am new media advisor, that's what I'm saying. You have a book inside you, and you also have a podcast inside you. So that's the thing. So with this, I've been hesitating because see myself how to look, and now I see here Haps saying something. Hello, Peter Bittner from Seattle. So yeah, and I will see now. I will do this Haps challenge to joke. It's like 3 minutes, something like that, and then I have to look at the Facebook thing at the same time. And thanks for the award there. I appreciate that, Peter. And thanks for great work. And that's what I wanted to say, that Haps, that's a platform and it's a company, and they are journalists, many of them, and they are having a passion here for spreading the good word and expression, freedom of expression and freedom of speech. So I will hang around and test this and give it a chance and some time. So I will do this, as I said, 3 times a week. Now it's Thursday, and I will do some ventilating about an article, Tors Hammer, Torsdag in Swedish. Great to see you here, Lyceum, just dropping by to say hi. Thanks, Peter. It must be late for you over there. So that's why I'm also testing different time slots. So now it's 9 a.m. A bit later now because I had 2 retakes before, and that's middle of the night here in Seattle for you, Peter, like 3 in the morning. But in California, still that Mark was joining yesterday, then you could do it. Maybe you're up late in middle of night, as I am a night owl now and then. And then on Thursdays, as I said, this is first day. Then it's 9 a.m. to checking out an issue of The Economist that have been. It often comes on Monday or Tuesday, so now I've had some days to go through it. I think the digital one it's already on Sunday. I think could do it. But I mean, this is working for a whole week. It's every week it's coming out. So more about that later. So that's on Thursday. On Saturday, I will do celebrating, drinking game. It could be tea, it could be something else. And right now I'm drinking black tea from Ceylon, Sri Lanka. Kunor, like the diamond. Cheers. And I have some pine honey, honey from pine trees in Greece, birthplace of Western civilization. So it's saying a great connection live. I hope you hear me well. So please give me a thumbs up, comment, and so on. And Haps is also giving you some hints what you could say in the start of a podcast. So I said I want to have it short and sweet, but I could babble around because, as I said, I really like this to do live streaming. It will take some time to build this platform. But I will do it as a test, and it's a content creation and curating, so I could use it for my blogging and for my podcasting and also for my newsletter. So, and also again that you could spread it to different satellites at the same time. So that's what I like. So thanks again, Haps, for providing this service, and that is for free. Nothing is free. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch, as Highline Water said. But you have investors, you have people who are investing in this and support you, and you probably maybe have a premium service or something like that, or something in the pipeline that you're planning. I was thinking of that. The HAP challenge is 250 views every time you're doing it, and I don't think I will reach out to that. Right now it's a couple viewers here, but the replay also is viewing. My question is, will I get more data about that in the future? So you could grind it and check it out and so on. I'm doing it for fun, and I'll continue. If it's one individual watching this and get something out of it, I'm happy about that. But it will be interesting to see. Maybe that will be a premium feature in the future. How many replays when they have, if I tune out, if I'm babbling and they fade out or something like that, or if I do it the whole program. That you could check in podcasting, for example, on Apple Podcasters. If users are using iOS, then you could see it. And also, I think on Google, on YouTube, you could do that. But I'm not sure in that studio there. So, with that said, talking along, already 8 minutes, so that's a long introduction. So, but again, thanks for hanging out with me. So, what will you do? Yesterday I was on a webinar with Libsyn about podcasting, and there they say you should do a call to action or an ask. So that's Haps is giving you advice on, please download the Haps app, because you will now be seeing this on Twitter, Facebook, and other places. I will tell you about the news thing also. So start with an ask or end with an ask. So I will plan to, now my name here is Lyceum, Aristotle School in Athens in Greece. But I handed over Lyceum Twitter handle to Zachary Davis of Lyceum.fm, audio podcasting and educational podcasts in Boston area in the United States of America. So, but I had this hashtag Ask Lyceum, like that you're now. My username on Twitter is Lyceum Peripatos, and Peripatos is, like you could say, a nickname for Lyceum, and also maybe not pronounce it in the right way if it's Greek, that you're walking around and talking with your mentees, and you're the mentor, you're a philosopher, and you have your students, and it's an open space. And that's what I like with HAPS here also. You could chime in, you could add your 2 cents to the conversation, you could write comments, and then we could continue the conversation on Twitter, for example. So hashtag Ask Lyceum on Twitter, that I will start checking, and we'll see if we could start populating this hashtag. Maybe I could do Ask Lyceum Peripatos also, but that's pretty long. Then you have lots of characters. Of back in the day it was 140, now it's 280 characters on Twitter. So if you have any, what how do you want to reach out to me and give me feedback? As I said, if you search on my name, that's one of my segments in my podcast, one of my podcasts, Ego Netcast. When I have a guest, I do an ego search or ego surfing on the guest and see what comes up. And when we have a discussion about that, is that the picture you want to have of you and your company, or your brand, your personal brand, or if you're an artist, you as a music artist, your brand there out there. So, and then I check Google because that's the main player. But I remember back in the day when we used Alta Vista. Do you know that? Or I liked Ask Jeeves, talk about Ask, because then you could write as you're talking or speaking or thinking, and then you got search results from that. Of course, I know that with Google you could do that also, and it's getting more and more in that you search as in sentences, not in keywords, even if it is keywords. So when it was Alexa, and now it's Google. But I'm also checking out DuckDuckGo now and then also to get. I like the privacy thing there with it, and also protecting privacy, and also that you are not, in a way, you're not a product of their product because it's free in Google service. It's DuckDuckGo also, but yeah. With that said, we will see what will happen in Google on YouTube now when I said that. Maybe we'll listening. That's the so-called big tech and the so-called dilemma about that. So we'll see more about that. So the Libsyn webinar, Elsie Escobar gave a tip on smart prompt, because now I'm using like short notes, and I'm doing it by heart, by head, my brain, because I want to have this as a free, laid-back conversation and talk with others. And then, of course, it's depending on who's online and what time zone it is. But I will check out this smart prompt. Maybe that could be a tool. And I've got new other things now. When this happened with the lavalier mic, I have this IK multimedia, but maybe something is with them, and we'll see how this is working, because this is a good quality lavalier mic. But I'm pretty keen on getting the Rode microphone. I bought the one that's called Rode lavalier, but then I saw it in America, but it's all about lavalier plus, the plus sign, a better improved version. But here in Sweden it was not available yet, so I bought this lavalier, and I think the lavalier plus is much better. That's my guess. So I think I'm getting that one, so you could support me in that way, and also some other things. For example, now it's I put it like in my shirt, or my tennis shirt or piqué shirt. You don't see it then because I have it in my face here, but you could put it on like t-shirts and others if you get this tape or invisible thing by Röde also, and some other things that I'm planning to get. So so the smart prompt, and also I talked about, I got a tip for my podcasting about Otto, I think it's, and the transcription service. That could be good for searching in the future. So now I'm already talking for almost 15 minutes here, so we have to wrap up in a way, but still I want to do an analysis of Economist article, and we could continue conversation in cyberspace. But a new thing, a news item is that I am now on Clubhouse and joined there directly without checking it out. I get a vibe of feeling like it is like the interrelate chat days back in the day. And you go into different rooms, and I got now a notification that people will talk. So I will like be how to say, lurking and watching and listening, and then maybe in the future create my own room or open it, how it works. But first I will read the article and the blog post by Amber Mack, and I got that in her newsletter before I jump in and start clubbing. So yeah, we'll see what's going on there. I know, talking about Libsyn, that Rob Greenlee and also Todd Cochran from Blueberry, and for the New Media Show, that they have Clubhouse meetings there. So I will tune in there someday in the future here. I know that they have on Saturday, but on Saturday at 9 p.m. my time, we will do this as a tea drinking party. Cheers. Another new thing is that I'm now on Twitch. And for the record, I'm not a gamer. My relation to, and I wrote a tweet about that, my relation to gaming or video gaming is that I imported the 3.5 inches like this in plastic called floppy diskettes. Do you remember them? Back in the day, in the end, it was end of 80s, beginning of 90s, from Asia, like Hong Kong and Taiwan. And then it was to people with home computers using that, and you could put like your programming thing or recipes, all kind of things, your calendar or address book and things like that. And of course I knew that it was used by people cracking games also. As I said, I'm for property rights and ones that have developed a game. I know that back in the day these games, the consoles costed pretty much, and so people could hack into them and then put them on a floppy diskettes. One thing led to another, and that's the topic we'll talk about today, the news article in The Economist, latest issue here. And it, oops, we'll see so that not touch here the lavalier mark, but pay per trade. An article here talking about what's going on here with the high-speed market makers and payment for order flow and new intermediates. And then they have also another side article called the meme team, and that was this campaign at Reddit started about GameStop. I don't know if you have bought games at GameStop, and I'm not sure if it's here in Europe also. Maybe it is, but as I said, I'm not a gamer, but now I'm on Twitch. Maybe I should start get an old VIC Commodore 20 or VIC 64 or an Amiga 500 or some simulator and gaming. The thing with the gaming, I didn't have how to say, patience to level up and take time for this. So, but it's interesting that now this should be distributed to Twitch also, and I created my own channel there, and I followed and subscribed to Twit TV and some Swedish tech channel also. So it'll be interesting how that will play out. So going back to the news article in the Economist. First of all, this is how you could support me. Every issue is costing like 70 Swedish crowns. We could say if the dollar is $10, $1 is 10 Swedish crowns, but that's not the case now. It's 8, I think 50 or maybe 9, but we could say 10 for easier calculating. So, and it's about 70 pages. So every page is costing 1 Swedish crown. and I buy it in 12 issues, like 3 months. So if and I have like a goal here on HAPS. I haven't set it myself. I think it's by default, but to get like $10 per broadcasting, and I have got some percentage now and then, and I'm doing this for the long run. But if in the future I could get like $10 per broadcasting or over a week, then this magazine will so-called be free for me, and I could get me motivated to continue to do my analysis and my comments, and we could continue with this. With that said, I like the paper magazine, but as I said, it's getting, the text is getting smaller, you could say, with age. And also the paper, it's not as glossy as like a magazine. I started subscribing to 1843. That's the name of their lifestyle magazine, The Economist, and it stopped. I got one issue, and then I got a refund, or they added to my The Economist subscription, and that's maybe a sign of the times. But this kind of magazine, it's harder. I mean, they have these nice ads for exclusive watches and other things like that. It is a bit harder paper, I think, thicker paper than the regular Economist, but it's not so glossy as some of his fashion magazines and so on. But I liked the idea of it, but now it's included in the Economist subscription, and you could watch it online. And here the issue that I got was the whirling mind. Can we escape information overload? And maybe that could be a question. Am I adding to the overload to you now, or do you think it's like curating in a good way, and you're getting some kind of essentialism things about what's going on with new media? That's my aspiration and hope to do that, and that's my case as a new media advisor. As I said, to concentrate on things that you could focus on and control: your blog, your newsletter, and your podcast. And as I said, now it's getting more and more into this live streaming. So, but one feature now that The Economist have, I don't know if it, because when with subscription you could go back to old magazines or issues, maybe already back to 1843, I'm not sure, but long way back. So that's a value to be a subscriber to The Economist. But they have now also started with audio, so you could listen to the articles read by very British style of speaking writers, maybe there are, or speakers, and the authors by themselves maybe also. It was very enjoyable to listen to it. So I then used my what is it call it, USB or Bluetooth headphone over the head. There's also nice noise reduction, and lay down, and there you can say just subscribe. Happy Gora, thank you very much for doing that. So, and listen to the articles, and this article about when GameStop and what's happening about the pay per trade, and it was for maybe 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And I like to read or scan through also, but the audio was very enjoyable and easy to get into. So now before this broadcast, I said that on Twitter that I will analyze this, or maybe that's a big word, but comment at least on this article, and we could continue with it, the conversation. So I listened to it, and then I glanced through it here now, and yeah, that's a neat thing with The Economist, that you have both the paper magazine, the digital online, and also now that you could listen to the articles. So my short comment on this is that they talked about this gaming That's my headline here, game with the stock market. That due to now the pandemic and the situation, maybe not so many kids and others are out going to the gaming store, the GameStop, and buying games. And big hedge funds and others have figured that out. So they're starting to dump the price. And then somebody heard about that, that's my guess. So on a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets, they start to say buy back, or hold on your GameStop shares. So the hedge funds and others have betted, you could say, trying to not game it, but it is the gamers that gaming it. So then they lost lots of money because the price was going up. Now I don't know how it is, if it's going back to normal again. And you could be a trader. I'm not. I've been paper trading, and I'm for the market. I'm giving moral support for it, but I'm not into it myself. But then you could be a long investor or a trader or something between. So, but this is interesting now with technology and like forums and communities and the net and internet, and how the big long tail could try to do counteracting or try to, as I said, game or corner the market. But the market is always right and will always go back to so-called normal, the new normal. So you can't do that. But of course, if you have some so-called insider information or other things, you know almost a little bit more than somebody else, or less. And it's interesting what's happened with this GameStop. Another one was the silver squeeze, that we'll go back to. Silver is, as I see, insurance and objective value, same as gold, and it will not decrease in value compared to the fiat currency and the paper money. So then they try to, because they've been discussing the ratio between gold and silver, but it should be a bit more narrow. So this silver squeeze was also some activity online, I think. So it would be interesting to following along. Excuse me. And maybe that could be with the cryptocurrencies also, that you have this, they buy and then dump it and so on. So it's lots of going in, but the solution is not regulations or now the alligator tears by the hedge funds and others, or this how should you say, activism by traders, very short-sightedly. And in the article it was called some broker there or middleman called Robin Hood. So I have to do more research on that, what's that meaning. But the article was saying that they were earning lots of money on this because they had this information, what was going on, and then they took some time when they executed the trades, and also maybe, I don't know if they increased the fees or the tariffs, but it's up to them to do that also. Now, I mean, back in the day, if you bought shares and stock papers and other things, you had to go to the bank and have a deposit account. Now you have it also, but it's more and more digital. Like back in the day, I think it was E-Trade. I don't know how big they are nowadays. And shout out to Jonathan Hönig. He is an expert in this field, so I will talk to him and see what's going on in this field and how it's going. But I remember I did paper trading and also on commodities and futures and so on. But it's a risk, as I said. So, and I'm not an expert in this field, so you have do your due diligence and contact an expert, like in this case Jonathan Hönig and Capitalist Pig Fund, and search on Jonathan Hönig's name. I will include here later on in the comment field, and also do a podcast on this, an episode on this. So that was the article that they talked about this Robin Hood and the whole situation and what will this lead to in the future. So this Reddit group I will check out, Wall Street Bets, and also what's going on GameStop, and maybe I should start getting a simulator and start gaming. And you could watch me. Maybe that's more fun than listen to me rambling and babbling about this kind of thing. So how should you do an ask like Seum? Check out Haps, download the app, give me high fives, thumbs ups, and as you did here, Peter Bittner, thanks for giving me an award of $0.50 and thumbs up. It's all kind of cool awards that you could get, and I got plenty of these coins. That is the system here on Haps, because I started this challenge and have been active. So I will try when I watch other live streaming and broadcast to give a thumbs up, to give some awards. And thanks again Eileen Smith of Miss Eileen and Eileen on Twitter and here on Haps for introducing me to this platform. And also I could say thanks Chris Brogan for your kind words out there in cyberspace about the sound quality and my experience as a podcaster. As I said, this is still a bit, not nervous, I wouldn't say, but it's a new thing to look into the camera and look at yourself recording at the same time live, and then later on listen to yourself and watching yourself and see what this will get out. And then again, it's this time, as 1843 is saying, the whirling mind. What's going on with all this content and dopamine and so on. And of course I get things exciting when I get thumbs up and awards and likes, but we have to reflect on that and do some introspection and see how this will be a value for our own lives. And we will continue the conversation here and celebrate on Saturday with drinking tea or some other beverages. And please also comment on what you think about the Economist. I did talk about that on all sites now. According to their matrix or chart version number 4, they said the Economist is leaning left. Do you think that, or do you think they are middle or center, or do you think they are leaning right? Again, I think it's great publication, and they have been around since 1843, so that's great. And again, with this audio thing was neat to listen to articles. So now I see here it's in half an hour. Yeah, so I don't know if like in podcasting you could speed up the speed, and you could go to YouTube later on, or I don't know how it is on Twitch, but on YouTube you could put it on different speed if you think I talk too slow or you want to get to the chase here. So again, thanks for watching, and see you around, and talk to you soon again. Cheers.